The Data Feed Manager lets you access and manage all of your data feeds. You can bring in the following types of data feeds: RSS and media RSS feeds, XML feeds from any external source, QL server hosted feeds, Twitter postings, Facebook page postings, Google Calendar appointments, and Microsoft Exchange appointments. We're now going to look at each type of data feed and go over their respective settings. Let's start from the top of the list. RSS and XML feeds are essentially the same. In this example, we'll use a CNN RSS feed. First, visit the CNN website and copy one of the RSS feed URLs to the clipboard. Switch back to the Content Manager. Name the feed, then paste the URL and click Save. The data is automatically pulled from the source and displayed in the Data Feed Manager's grid. You'll see columns of data appear across the grid. Each column represents a field with its name at the top of the grid. Each line represents a data feed record. Under Display Options, you'll find the following settings: the descriptive name of the data feed that you can edit. The URL appears right below. Note, this field can't be edited. Next is the referent column. This is the column used to calculate the pause time for each record displayed on screen. The first column is always selected by default, so be sure to pick the one that contains the most text. In this example, the title column will always contain a single line of text. It's the title of the news article. The description column contains the news article, so it will be longer than the title. Select the description as the referent column to make sure viewers will have the time to read each article before the next one loads. The next field displays the data refresh cycle. By default, data feeds refresh on a 30-minute cycle. This means the player will ping the source every 30 minutes. Enter a lower number if you want to shorten the refresh time. The Restrict Scope setting is where you determine how many lines or records will be read. For example, if you enter 5 to 10, only those 5 lines will be shown when this data feed is used in a template or ticker. The default values are 1 to 999, which essentially means there is no restriction. The checkbox below is always selected by default. It means that any column can include URLs by pointing to images stored on a web server. If you uncheck this box, images will no longer be shown. Instead, we'll display their URL as text. The next checkbox is not selected by default. It means that any HTML code included in a field will be interpreted. If you check this box, the HTML code will be ignored. This is sometimes useful in cases where the HTML code is preventing the text from displaying properly. The last pull-down menu is used to select which columns will be visible in the template or ticker designer. By default, all columns are selected, but you have the options of only selecting the columns you intend to use. This is especially useful in cases where there are many columns and you only need a few. Since the other data feed types function in a very similar way, we'll focus on their differences. Creating a new QL server feed only requires a name. The URL field is not used. Once you've entered a name, click Save to create a new empty server feed. By default, each column is identified by a letter and configured to accept text. To change the column content type, double-click the column title. The Columns tab will open with a pull-down menu and a field. The default content type is text, but you can also select image. This will convert the selected column into an image container. When someone double-clicks on any cell in that column, they will be asked to upload an image which will be stored on the server. Once the file has been uploaded, its URL will be visible in the cell. If you click on a cell containing a stored image, you will see a preview on the left side under the Preview tab. To rename a column, double-click its title and overwrite the text in the Name field. Click Save to confirm your changes. You can add or delete entire lines from your server data feed. To do so, right-click in the grid and select the task you wish to perform. Insert will add a new line in the grid at the click point. Delete will remove the line where you clicked. To add a Twitter feed, proceed as follows. Under the new feed, select Twitter from the pull-down menu. Type in a descriptive name in the second field. Type or paste the Twitter account identifier. You must enter the information after twitter.com/. Click Save and the data is retrieved and shown in the grid. The feed is now ready for your template or ticker. Adding Microsoft Exchange feeds is a bit like Google Calendar with the following differences. You must gather the following information before you begin: the Microsoft Exchange server URL, the user's email login name, the user's Exchange password, optionally, the room mailbox alias name. This is required where you want to display room booking information. Next, open the Data Feed Manager and proceed as follows. Under New Feed, select Microsoft Exchange from the pull-down menu. Type in a descriptive name in the second field. Type or paste the Microsoft Exchange server URL in the third field. Type or paste the Microsoft Exchange account login name. Repeat for the account password in the next field, and if required, enter the resource alias name in the following field. When you click Save, the data is retrieved and shown in the grid. The feed is now ready to be added to any template or ticker. Remember that you can apply the same display options to any type of data feed to control how the information will be shown on screen. This concludes our review of the Data Feed Manager. Be sure to visit www.navori.com for more information.